This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. From the corporate office to the cab of a truck, they're here to inspire and empower women in all professions. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. We're a show that works to inspire and empower women in every profession and lifestyle, including the office, trucking, the trades, and even motherhood. We endeavor to power women on their road to success. We tackle all kinds of topics, and we work to encourage women to be their very best with informative guests and women who've been champions. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Kathy.
No topic is taboo on our rig. We tackle the tough topics along with the not-so-tough topics. And we like to feature experts and celebrities who can assist women in being the best they can be. Many times in life, people hurt us, sometimes irreparably. It can send us into an emotional spiral that is fraught with anger, bitterness, and regret. Sometimes the toughest thing to do is to forgive. Forgiveness is often one of the hardest challenges people face when they've been wronged by someone else. They stay stuck in a web of anger, depression, and bitterness that hangs on like a shroud and keeps them stuck. To escape the darkness and hurt, forgiveness is often the solution. Katharine Giovanni is a 3-time award-winning and best-selling author, speaker, trainer, and advisor. She's a pioneer and founder of the independent concierge industry. Her latest publication, The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power, offers profound insights into the transformative power of forgiveness. Katharine's the author of 11 books, which also include an inspirational publication called Rainbows and Banana Peels. Katharine's been interviewed on ABC News Nightline, CBS News, Good Morning America, MTV, Time Magazine, Money Magazine, Forbes, The New York Times, and The Wall Street Journal. Katharine is also a breast cancer survivor whose resilience and determination inspires others to overcome life's challenges. Katharine's with us today to share her insights about forgiveness and talk about her newest book. Welcome, Katharine. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I find it very interesting. You've had quite the background, and you help people in business as well as in their personal lives. What motivated you to talk about forgiveness?
Well, it started way back when I was in the 8th grade, and my parents were getting a divorce. I was getting bullied really badly in school, and I tried to commit suicide. And since I'm here, it didn't work, obviously, but that's when the anger started. And I became this angry teenager that was just kind of angry at the world. And I head into my 20s, and then I headed into 29, and my mother died, and everything came to a head. And I was this walking ball of nastiness. And everybody thinks that when you get angry at somebody, whether it's a level 10 anger or it's a level 1 anger, when you get angry, the anger goes out into the universe and it just dissipates. But it doesn't. It stays within your energy field. So the more you get angry, the darker your energy field gets, to the point where you couldn't see your dream job and you couldn't see your dream person because your energy field is all filled with anger, and it's all you can see and it's all you can think of. And that's when I stumbled on forgiveness. And I discovered that the more people that I forgave, the better that I felt. But it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I discovered how to make people stay forgiven, because they had a nasty habit of coming back and making me angry again.
Yes, kind of like a bad penny. They always return with their bad habits or their malevolence or whatever the heck they're doing. And it really, what you're saying is true insight. When you're caught up in that anger, you can't see the forest through the trees, can you?
No, you can't. And at the time, back in the day, I was teaching people how to be a concierge. And I can't teach you to be warm, friendly, and approachable if you're angry, because your anger is going to bleed through your body language, whether you want it to or not. But we're going back never mind how many decades we're going back. We won't go there. But let's suffice it to say, back about 10, 20 years ago, you didn't add soft topics to your workshops. It just wasn't done. Yet I couldn't get it out of my head that if I taught forgiveness to all of my corporate clients, it would help them with their customer service and it would help them with their personal life. So eventually I did listen to that little bird on my shoulder, and that's when it started. I started adding it to my workshops.
You know, I think people will say some things are unforgivable and they're just not capable of forgiving. Because let's face it, human beings can be pretty evil and pretty nasty, and some of the things they do to each other, it's real tough to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say anger and unforgiveness is like a poison to the soul.
Amen.
Yeah, well said. Yeah.
I'm probably one of the few people in the world who's going to tell your listeners some things are unforgivable and you don't have to forgive it.
Okay.
Because in my world, at least in my book, you've got 10 levels of anger, going from 1, which is the easy people. Like you're in the grocery store and you get that grocery cart road rage and you just get angry, or it's the person in grade school who stained your sweater, the easy ones. And then you get all the way up to the number 10s and they're awful. They're the unforgivable. And they're hard to forgive. And forgiveness is like an onion. So you make a couple passes at it and maybe you can get these people down maybe to an 8, and then you can get them down to a 7. Well, how do you do that? Well, if they're really the unforgivable, then you start by forgiving yourself. You start by forgiving everything around it. You forgive the table. You forgive the episode. You forgive the building. It's getting into a little brain stretching here. You can forgive people. You can forgive places. You can forgive memories. You can forgive times. I forgave 1974 because it was a crap year. I thought I can forgive the people in there, but I'm just going to forgive the whole year. And when it comes to the unforgivable, well, sometimes the only thing you can forgive is yourself, the energy around the event, or maybe just the car you were sitting in, or maybe just the day. That's often all you can forgive. But that's the thing about forgiveness. People think that people are the only things you can forgive, but you can forgive thousands of other things. Your grammar school, the house you grew up in, the chair you sat in the corner in the 3rd grade when Miss Marple made you go sit in the corner, things like that.
So by forgiving things, does that put us in a different mindset, essentially, that gives us the ability to maybe eventually forgive the people, or does it give us the ability to forgive ourselves? Yes,
to both.
Okay.
It's going to dissipate that energy I'm talking about, that anger energy. Mm-hmm. And I tell everybody, get a list and just sit down and write down everybody you think you need to forgive. Okay, well, Katharine, I have forgiven these people. Yeah, of course you have. Let's do it again. Let's sit down with your list. And then once you get your list of people, places, things, and I know it sounds weird, but trust me on this. And then you put a number to it, 1 to 10. And you leave those 8, 9s, and 10s, they're last. Absolutely dead last. So you start with the 1s and the 2s and the 3s, and you do the easy ones. And the more you forgive, the better you're going to feel, because that forgiveness energy is going to go out and it's going to start lightening up your energy field, and you're going to start to feel better. You may not be getting as sick as much, and you may be able to see opportunities now. And so you'll forgive a few more people. And then you're going to notice that money is starting to flow into your life again. Wow, why is forgiveness affecting my financial situation? Yet it does, because you're able to see more opportunities. It's a beautiful thing, and it's going to help your health. It's going to help your career. It helps every part of your life.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Dean Michael, the tax doctor here. I have one question for you. Do you want to stop worrying about the IRS? If the answer is yes, then look no further. I've been around for years. I've helped countless people across the country, and my success rate speaks for itself. So now you know where to find good, honest help with your tax problems. What are you waiting for? If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or haven't filed in years, call me now at 888-557-4020 or go to mytaxhelpmd.com for a free consultation and get your life back.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
If you're enjoying this informative episode of Women Road Warriors, I wanted to mention Kathy and I explore all kinds of topics that will power you on the road to success. We feature a lot of expert interviews. Plus, we feature celebrities and women who've been trailblazers. Please check out our podcast at womenroadwarriors.com and click on our episodes page. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, YouTube, and other sites. And tell others about us. We want to help as many women as possible. When you don't forgive, you hurt yourself to the core. It will keep you stuck in the past and eat you alive with negative emotions. The more people you can forgive, the better you'll feel. Forgiveness has an inherent power to set you free and pull you back onto the road you're supposed to take to succeed and thrive. You don't have to forgive the worst offenders, but you do need to forgive yourself and everything around the person who hurt you. You can forgive the year that something terrible happened or the energy around the event. Forgiveness is actually a gift you give yourself, not the offender. It dissipates the anger energy that consumes you. It doesn't mean you have to ever deal with that person again, either. You just move on, away from the pain. Forgiveness is the catalyst that helps you do that. Katharine Giovanni is the author of The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. She's offering us some terrific insight and a roadmap on how people can forgive to change their perspectives and improve their lives with forgiveness. Katharine, now there may be some people out there that say the anger gives them the ability to be in control. They feel vulnerable if they aren't angry. What do you say to somebody like that?
Well, I would suggest they give it a try because they're so focused on the anger and telling their story. And even if you make the story funny, you're still telling the story, that there's probably a lot of opportunities you're missing because you're so focused on the anger. You're focused on everything. You're focused on the past. You're focused on the person or the incident. You're focused on the weather it was that day, what you were wearing. You're completely hyper-focused. And your dream job might have just walked by. Your dream, significant other, a great opportunity, your dream house, maybe a money-making opportunity because you're so focused on that anger. It's amazing what you could accomplish if you're not angry.
Oh, yeah.
Angry to feel better.
I went to a women's treatment center years ago I was off and on there for 2 years, and I had to really unlearn all the trauma that had been, instilled in me since childhood. And I had to relearn, who Kathy was and accept how freaking awesome I am. But, but part of that treatment was learning about anger and forgiveness. And at first, I laughed really hard when the therapist was talking about anger management. I'm like, I don't need anger management. Are you kidding? I'm the nicest person around. Like I'm the most kind, forgiving, loving person. And she said, just because you said that, Kathy, you're going you're going to be in the class. And it took me a while to understand that anger comes out in different forms. Because I was raised in such violence, I associated anger with getting hit and punished and things like that. But anger, my own internal anger, was coming out in forms of depression It was coming out in addiction. It was coming out in self-abuse and anorexia, in all sorts of different things, right? Not realizing that I was actually angry at all these people that had hurt me. So I had to, it was like a shift of focus that I had to do. And once I started releasing that, then I realized, oh my God, I've been so angry all my life and not really recognizing it. But then I had to learn how to dissipate that and learn how to forgive. For me, forgiving people, the people that did me wrong, was fairly easy to do. I mean, I'm pretty kind and loving, but the hardest thing I had to do was learn to forgive myself. And the only way I could do that was to learn to love myself. And I learned that if you have love in your heart, if you, when you're angry and when you're full of almost not hatred, but just, that when it just consumes you, if you can think of one thing that you love, whether it be a pet, a plant, or a parent, or whoever, it's almost as if the love supersedes the anger and the unforgiveness. And once that love is able to filter your heart, it opens yourself up to be able to forgive and to be able to move on. It works.
That's so profound.
It's the truth. It works. Because to this day, when something happens, and I'm unable to release it, the minute I close my eyes, I take a step back and do kind of like a meditation contemplation moment with myself, and I fill my heart, imagine it all golden, and I just see all the love coming out, thinking of every single thing that I love, all the kids that I've helped, all the women, everybody, things that are really monumental. Is that even a word? Things that are really monumental in my life. There you go. That's what I meant. There's no room for anger because love is so much more powerful.
Perfectly said.
Love trumps all.
I love it. Yep.
Perfectly said. I've often said that gratitude and love is the path to forgiveness. And sitting down before you go to bed and thinking about the 5 things you're grateful for, which is how I did it. And some days, my friends, all I could think of is I was grateful for the cup of coffee that I had that day. I mean, some days are just kind of like that. It's all I could think of. I'm grateful I'm in a bed. I'm grateful I'm in a house with a roof. That's all I could think of.
It's the smaller things. Yep.
After a while, you kind of move into the bigger things and you realize, well, maybe I am a good person and I am worthy. Women especially have that worthy thing. I am not worthy. And I think for many of us, we were raised to be told, well, you're not worthy. You're not good for anything. You just go get, my father used to say, just go get married and have kids. You're not smart enough to do anything. Okay. Don't tell me that, because I'm a little bit of a rebel. And if you tell me not to do something, I kind of want to do it now just to stick it to you.
Yeah, I was kind of that way too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Shelley's like that.
Yeah. The word no was very difficult for my mother to say to me.
Yeah. But gratitude got me to where I needed to get. And even gratitude when you're angry is really hard, because you're so focused on the past. You're so focused on what happened to you. It just clouds your judgment.
But it takes that time. You have to talk yourself through it. Okay, you know what? Take a minute. Let's step back and let's reassess and let's try. It takes time to change your mindset and to stop yourself and say, okay, wait a minute. What's going on here? Let me just refocus for a minute, right?
Yeah. We hear the phrase hindsight's 2020. But it seems like when we go back and we look at stuff, we may see it more clearly as to what happened. But I think we can get stuck there instead of looking forward. We get stuck. We start to focus on the negative and what happened instead of learning from it. And it's almost like an addictive behavior for people when they get stuck. They're angry. They're angry at the other people. They can't forgive. Is that almost a way for people to not take responsibility?
They get used to it. They get used to being angry, and they get used to the compassion people give to them because they're angry. Oh, well, you don't have to do the dishes because I know you're angry. Oh, well, let me go help take you to the grocery store because this, and this happened. They get used to it. It's an addiction of some kind.
Okay. Yeah.
And, I've often told people, just dip baby steps, right? If you can't forgive yourself, that's fine. Forgive the easy ones. Forgive the ones, twos, and threes in your life. Forgive the tiny little, the tiny little nuances of your life. Because if you can forgive the easy ones, you're going to start to feel better, and it's going to get a little easier.
Something just popped into my head here. Women, I think, tend to be more perfectionists.
Mm-hmm.
When they're stuck on being for perfectionists, are they unable to forgive themselves for making a mistake?
Quite often, because I want to be perfect. I want to make sure I get it all. And then you get the women who say, well, if I forgive, that means they were right, which is not true. You forgive for you. Forgiveness is completely selfish. This is, with all due respect to AA, this is not AA. You don't have to call them. You don't have to do I can't remember what step it is. But this is something you can do in the privacy of your own home, in your bedroom, with the door locked, nobody there. It does not mean the person was right. It means you want to be free of thinking about this person all the time. It means you want freedom. It doesn't mean it's completely selfish. And I get that all the time. People say, well, I don't want to forgive them because then it means they were right. And they're not. They were wrong. 100% they were wrong. And it doesn't matter if somebody looks at you and says, well, I have a different memory of it and you're wrong. Okay, well, that's fine. It's still your memory and you can forgive it or not.
And just because you forgive someone, it doesn't mean that you have to bring them back into your life, correct?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't, but I forgive you.
So forgive and walk away.
Exactly.
That's healthy. Yeah.
You forgive them, and then you can walk away and not think about them anymore. And if you can't forgive them, well, then forgive yourself if possible, and forgive the stuff around it. It's fine. Believe it or not, say I forgive you and don't mean it. Take a pass at it. Forgiveness is an onion. And every time you say you forgive, you put your hand over your heart and you forgive, you're getting rid of some of the layers of the onion. And eventually you'll be able to get rid of enough layers that you can forgive the person. I have a number 10 in my life too. And it took me a long time to forgive that person. And I think I've got the person down to a 3 or a 4, but I kept making passes at it. And I kept saying, I forgive you. And then they would do something to irritate me. It's like, okay, well, guess I've got to go back to, got to do it again. So be kind to yourself. This is a journey. Forgiveness is a journey, and it's worth it, because you're at the end of the day, you're going to feel 100% better, and you're going to change your life.
When I was saying that anger and forgiveness, unforgiveness is like a poison to your soul. I had a dream the last day I quit drinking in 2012, and I'm a very visual person. I think that's why I had this dream. I was kind of above myself, and I could see all the toxicity inside me from the alcohol and from all the resentment and anger and all that stuff that was kind of brewing inside me. And it was coming out of me like tar, and it was black and goopy, and it was like a ripple, and just touching 1,000 people around me, just in that horribleness, right? And it's as if like anybody that would come into contact with what I was putting out there was being sucked into it as well. So then I went from that to looking at myself with the golden heart, like I was mentioning. And this time my heart was filled with so much love that coming out of me was a ripple, but the colors of the rainbow. And that ripple extended worldwide, and it elevated every single person that was coming into my environment. And that dream is what keeps me sober, because I realize the difference, how much love is so much more powerful than anger, hateful, or, anything else, any negativity, really, in whatever form it might take. Love supersedes all and will help rise anybody that's struggling.
What a beautiful vision that was that you had. And it's spot on. Exactly.
Yeah.
It was. The dream was so vivid. I was floating above, looking at myself and what was coming out of me, whether it be good or bad. And I made a choice right then and there that I was going to spread love throughout the world and not, anything from whatever alcohol that I was drinking. So I didn't realize the extent of how much my drinking affected other people.
It's got a ripple effect, doesn't it? I've been sober for over 31 years, so it's got a ripple effect that just goes out and it affects more people than you realize.
Well, yeah, that's why I had the dream. Everything was a ripple, right? Coming from me, whether good or bad. And I needed that visual. So now I try and portray that to people. If you can just imagine that, what are you putting out there by hanging on to your anger and hanging on to all your toxicity from your thoughts? Yeah. We may not realize it, but it's extensive.
It really is.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, is building a positive image of trucking by telling the story of the hardworking drivers and industry professionals who support the industry. And you can be a part of it. Learn more about TMAF and how you can join and be a part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting TMAF's website at truckingmovesamerica.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our latest channel, TikTok.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
The path to forgiveness is not easy, but it's a path we need to take to prosper. Otherwise, the people who've hurt us will have won. Take baby steps and forgive the smaller transgressions. Sometimes it's as simple as reflecting on the things we're grateful for. That puts us into a positive mindset. It also helps us forgive ourselves, too. Gratitude, love, and forgiving ourselves are key to our own prosperity. We can't stay stuck in the anger and the hurt. Forgive and walk away. As we make these moves, we're going to feel more worthy. And women especially get caught up in the inner voice that tells us we're not worthy. Opening positive perspectives will change all of that. Gratitude's really hard when you're angry because anger clouds your judgment. That's why forgiveness gives you power. You uncloud your thinking, and you can see the opportunities in life that are supposed to be yours. When you're caught in the anger, you don't see that. Author Katharine Giovanni is giving us a new perspective on how to unlock the power of forgiveness. It's not an easy task, but we need to get rid of the anger. You know, Katharine, what I'm seeing, and it seems like maybe in the past 12 years or so, our society seems to be so much more angry and divisive and combative. Is there a bigger problem with forgiveness now than ever before?
I actually, let me put it this way. You can't forgive what you can't see.
Mm-hmm.
So by having all this toxicity rise to the top is allowing us to see it clearly for the first time in years. And it's allowing us to make a different choice and forgive and clear so we could create a better world.
Yeah, because if you see with social media or if you're driving down the freeway, it seems like people are so aggressive, so angry, so combative. It's like, what the heck is going on? Do you have a theory on that, Katharine? And do you think forgiveness would really be one of the biggest cures for all of that?
I do. It's social media, and it's the media feeding us all of this fear and negativity, and look what this person's doing and look what that person's doing.
Yeah.
And I'm not convinced the human we were ever meant to know it's going on a world away. And so by turning off the media, by turning off the news and turning within to yourself and forgiving what you can in your own life is going to actually help cure the world one person at a time, because, as Kathy said, it has a ripple effect and it is going to ripple out. And if you're not being fed the negativity and the murder and the rape and all these things that are happening, and you're watching the news and you've got CNN on and you're watching Law and Order and you're watching all these things, you're being fed this incredible amount of negativity. So turn it off and just go on a fast, go on a media fast and see what happens, and look at the world through positive rose-colored glasses as opposed to the toxicity that everybody sees. The world is actually doing some great things. In my newsletter, I always put the positive news stories out there. They're being buried, but they are out there. There's good things happening in the world and some really, really great people.
You know, and that's where the media, and having been a journalist, I'm so well aware of it. The media has always been, if it bleeds, it leads. The negativity, rather than going with the human interest and the things that are good. That's also where I think you get the wackos out there wanting to have 15 minutes of fame doing something terrible. So, I mean, we're just caught up in this. And I do think, especially since everybody can access everything on their smartphones now, it hasn't helped. And I do think people are stuck in that anger mode, which is really part of our reptilian brain, isn't it? It's a base emotion. You know,
reptilian brain. I'm sorry.
Oh, I like that.
Shelley. She's so awesome, isn't she?
Not sure I like reptiles, but okay.
Well, the base part of our brain, which is basically survival, you know, we're not thinking with all of our gray matter.
Yeah.
We're not thinking logically. We're thinking with our reptilian brain, which is also referred to as the lizard brain.
Okay.
And of course, the lizard brain just makes us more aggressive. And we're just acting and reacting rather than taking a step back and engaging in the love that Kathy talks about.
Yeah. What would happen if you took a little bit of what Kathy said and you decided, and a little bit of what I'm saying and a little bit of what Shelley's saying, and you just say, okay, for 24 hours, I'm just going to turn the news off. I'm not going to watch CNN. I'm not going to watch Fox. I'm not going to do any of it. I might go on Facebook, but I'm just going to scroll past the negativity. And I'm going to forgive 5 people, easy ones, not the number 10s, just the easy ones. What would happen? What do you think it would change? It might change your dial a little bit. What if you went to bed tonight and before you went to bed, you just thought of the 3 things you're the most grateful for? And when I say forgive people, there's no mantra. There's no crystals you have to do. You don't have to dance. You don't have to sing. It's a very simple thing. And the words I forgive you are just words. It's really the feeling that it carries the most weight at this. And I always put my hands over my heart and I say, I forgive you, but I put my hand on my heart when I say it to remind myself to say the words from my heart and really mean it. So how do you know that you've actually forgiven somebody? You see their name and it doesn't zing your brain, you know you're forgiven. If you're neutral about them, if you can go on social media and see their name and not imagine bad things happening to them, then you know you've forgiven them.
It has to be a conscious effort.
Yes, it does.
And I have this quote, and I'm going to read it to you. That's sitting right in front of me on my wall here in my room up in camp. It says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Isn't that true?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I like that quote very much.
Until you decide that you're not going to be, when you're angry, that you're going to change your response, you're just going to say, nope, they did that. And you're just going to live in that, whatever your bubble that you're creating. So I'm going to read it again. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. I love it.
So
sometimes anger is the bridge to change too, because you get so angry, you say, I've had it, I'm going to change. And you do.
I believe anger creates illness in people.
Oh, it does. 100%.
Yeah.
I was ill.
Yeah.
I was sick. I was at the flu. I was had something going on with me. I was a miserable person as a teenager and in my 20s. Completely different than the person I am today. 100%.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Kathy DeCaro is nothing short of amazing. She not only drives the world's biggest truck as a heavy equipment operator in northern Alberta, Canada. She's an international motivational speaker and the author of Dream Big, an autobiography about overcoming a lifetime of trauma and abuse that led to dreams of success. Kathy inspires people the world over to change their lives and improve their self-worth. Her book will change your life. She's passionate about personal growth and believes anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they believe in themselves. Her life will amaze you and seriously inspire you. Be sure to order a copy of her book, Dream Big, on Amazon.com. Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry, our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy DeCaro.
You can't forgive what you can't see. With today's social media world, we see so much more of the big picture, and it's a huge opportunity for us to forgive and create a better world. It also has made people really angry. The social media message is not always what we need to be paying attention to. It creates even more turmoil and anger. By turning off the negativity you're being fed, you'll get better. Go on a media fast and see what happens. Look at the world through positive, rose-colored glasses to change your perspective and your life. It will set you free, because anger will destroy you. Katharine Giovanni, author of The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power, is giving us some huge perspectives today on how we can harness the power of forgiveness. Katharine, so somebody does have a problem letting go of the anger. It seems like it has to be a step-by-step process. How do they get rid of the anger? Is forgiveness the first step, or how do they just unleash that anger so they can go forward and think clearly?
I think first getting gratitude, some night before you go to bed, the number 3 things you're grateful for, because it's going to take your brain and it's going to flip a switch in your brain from looking at everything negatively. This happened, that happened, and wow, how was your day? Oh, it was horrible. This happened, that happened, and I was in the shopping. I was shopping, and this person cut me off in line, and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So by thinking about gratitude and the top 3 to 5 things that you're grateful for is going to take your brain from a negative to a positive. So you can go out in the world and look at the good things that happened to you. So when somebody looks at you and says, "Hey, Shelley, how was your day today?" You're not going to list the top 3 things that are wrong with you and how you've got a stomachache and the flu might, and maybe I got COVID, take my temperature. You're going to think of the 3 good things. And then you follow that up with forgiving, maybe making a list of maybe 3 people from grammar school that you could easily forgive. That's not a problem, and forgive those people and see what happens. One of the first people I forgave was a childhood friend of mine. And I sat down and I thought, I can do this, because it was grammar school. I couldn't even remember what we were angry about. And she, we were close. So I forgave the person, and I hadn't spoken to this person in 40 years. Yes, I'm revealing my age. But 2 hours after I forgave her, she calls me up on the phone.
Wow.
And I took the call, and we had a lovely conversation. And because I'm a curious little bear, I couldn't help it. So I said, after all these years, not that I'm not thrilled that we're talking, but after all these years, why did you call me today? She said, it was the strangest thing. About 2 hours ago, I was sitting in my bedroom, and a figurine you gave me in school just fell from my shelf down in the middle of my floor, and I saw it, and I thought maybe I should give you a call.
Wow.
So the power of forgiveness, and we were thousands of miles away from each other. The power of forgiveness is serious. I mean, if it can cause a figurine to go to the middle of the floor, then imagine what it can do for your life. There was a study done on water, and you guys can Google it. I think he was a Japanese guy, and he took water, and he had 2 vessels of water, and I'm just paraphrasing it. And he said really nice things to one vessel of water and really horrible things to another vessel of water. And then he put the water under a microscope. And the vessel that had the water that he said horrible things to had these malformations, and they were dark and black and nasty. The pictures are right on Google. And the ones that he said beautiful things to had these beautiful crystal formations that were absolutely exquisite. So since our body is over 98% water, can you imagine what forgiveness will do to the human body?
Yeah.
Or anger.
You know, I've heard of that instance that you were talking about, and it really is amazing. And when you think about it, not only is that going to make an impact on our own lives, but when you stop spewing all of that anger, it's going to help the people around you, because all you're doing is spewing toxicity, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to make you easier to live with.
Yeah. So the first step is to find something to be grateful for, but baby steps every single day, right?
Baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude is the first thing. And then sit down with a piece of paper, or you can use the worksheets in the back of my book, and write a list of the people, places, and things that you think you want to forgive. And I know it's weird to say I'm going to forgive a little red wagon from school, but believe it or not, that's going to shift the energy as well. So it's like writing without thought. You think of the people, and then you think, well, 1974 was an awful year. I forgave 1974. And maybe I had a lot of bad, stuff happen in my childhood home. It's like, okay, I'll forgive my childhood home, or maybe my bedroom. You write all these things down. And then I want you to just kind of number them from 1 to 10. Anything that's a 1 to 3, you could start with that group, the easy ones. They're the easy ones you can do. And then you slowly move up to the 10s. Just one word of caution, try and not forgive more than 10 to 12 things at a time, because I did that once and I must have forgiven 30, 40 different people. And I actually made myself sick, because the nasty energy has to be released from your body. And as politely as I can, let's just say I had to take to my bed because it looked like I had the flu. And I didn't have the flu. My body was just trying to process all that negative energy, and it had to release it somehow. So sometimes it gets released through various means, but if you only do 10 to 12, then you should be fine. But don't be surprised if you get tired or something like that.
Well, I imagine too, if you're forgiving, maybe there might even be some crying involved.
There might be crying involved. There might be stomach aches involved. There might be headaches involved. That's why I don't want you to forgive more than 10 people, places, or things at a time, because if you do too much, then you're literally going to have to take to your bed. Your body is going to have to take some time to process what you've just forgiven. Even the easy ones. You're carrying all this anger energy in your body, and it has to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cry, go for it. It's fine.
You're probably rewiring your brain, aren't you? Or maybe creating new synapses that put you in a better place?
You are, because the person I was at the beginning of my life is 100% different than the person I am today. I have a different way of thinking. In fact, I had a rough childhood filled with alcoholism and all sorts of garbage. And because I've done all this forgiveness work, I can probably remember some of the horrible things if I really put my mind to it. But now when I look back at my childhood, I'm actually remembering the good things that happen. I'm remembering the loving things that happen. So it rewired my brain, but it's also caused my brain to look back in the past, and now I can see the good that was there. Whereas before I couldn't see any good at all, but there was good there. There were good people back there.
So
now I see them.
That's giving you a new beginning.
It did. It did. It was a new beginning and a brand new place to start. And that's why I wrote the book, because the world, we are in such a we are at a crossroads. You know, we could go one way or the other at this point. And I think forgiveness is going to be what tips the scale.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Because it really does feel like we're in crazy times, you know, with the animosity. It's like, oh my goodness, you know, who peed in your Wheaties? I mean, just the average person you run into, it's like, what, you know?
You know, if extraterrestrials landed in the middle of New York, I think I would just say, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, okay.
Extraterrestrials is take one look at what's going on down here on Earth and say, we're out of here. See ya.
Yeah. No, I think we're their entertainment at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what the humans are doing now?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Your insight, I think, really will give a lot of people the fundamentals that they need to make a change, a positive change. Where do people find your book? And what is the title again?
It's The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. It's the first book of 3. It's in pre-sale on Amazon. And you could also go to my website, katharinegiovanni.com, and purchase the book there.
People need this step by step. And I would love to see everyone read this. I mean, this could be just what the doctor ordered, the big solution for all of the animosity.
Agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, we're told by everybody that this is what bugs me. You know, everybody says you have to forgive. Okay, I don't want to. But you have to forgive. Okay, well, I'll forgive. But how do I forgive? Nobody tells you how.
Yeah.
Nobody tells you why. Nobody tells you, well, if you forgive too many people, you might be in the bathroom for a while, to be as polite as I can. You know, but why? Nobody gives you the step by step. They just randomly think, well, you need to forgive them. Well, why do I have to? And what if I don't want to? Well, you don't have to, because you don't. But at least forgive yourself. That's least huge. Forgive the energy.
Yep.
And that's going to be just enough to open the door a little crack and let you walk through to a better life. That's also why I want you to start with the easy people. But this is not something you can do in 24 hours. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And it's going to take a while. It's going to take a minute to get through your list, because it will. But be nice to yourself, because it's absolutely 100% worth it.
And even if you forgive somebody or some place, and then you find yourself not forgiving again, you could go back and revisit that?
Yes, absolutely. It just means that they were probably a level 5, 6, 7, and you have to just take another pass.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you'll get to a place where you could look at their name and it's not going to cause bile to rise up in the back of your throat.
Yeah.
You'll be able to look at that name and just go, it'll just be negative. But it may take a minute. I've had a couple people on my list that I had to forgive more than once. But once I've gotten to that sweet spot of forgiveness, they stay forgiven, which is magic. Because, now somebody said, well, what if they do something to irritate you again? Well, they probably will, especially if they're a narcissist. I have narcissists in my family, and they're constantly behaving badly. You just have to do it again. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can go to Thanksgiving and just expect them to behave that way. And for narcissism, I just keep the conversation on them, and it's brilliant. So there you go.
There you go.
I have no problems. I know they're not going to ask me about my sons. Okay, how is your family? You just keep it all on them. Mm-hmm. They're happy and no fights, and there you go.
Yes. Yep. Treat them like they're the royalty, right?
Exactly.
Yes, Your Majesty. All of that.
Aunt Martha's going to do something stupid at Thanksgiving dinner. So you go in expecting it. And when it happens, you just don't laugh in her face because it's terribly rude. But you expect it. Just you have to just make a game out of it somehow.
Sure.
Get through these things the best you can.
I love this. This is a template for everyone. The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power. What is your website again, Katharine, and where can people find the book?
They can get the book on Amazon. It's in pre-sale. The book comes out on December 15th. plenty of time for Christmas. And they can also get it on my website at katharinegiovanni.com. And if you buy it from my website, it'll be autographed.
Excellent. I love your insight.
Well, thank you. It took a minute to get here, but I have learned in my life that forgiveness is the way. It really is. And it just take a baby step, and you'll get addicted to it, and you'll think, I like this. I like how I feel. I went 24 hours without thinking of this person. This rocks. And just that in itself is worth its weight in gold.
That's right.
My time in my nursing years, I was a nurse for 13 years, and a lot of people on their deathbed, they were full of regrets, and this always really touched me deeply, because the one thing that they regretted the most is that they had their priorities all wrong, and the number one thing that really affected them was the fact that they didn't forgive the people they loved, and it was too late now, and they couldn't reach out, or whatever reasons, right? And I've always said that, you know what, that when in life, from this point on, I'm gonna keep my priorities to where they should be, and not on the illusions that we need, all the material things and all things that don't matter. What matters is, love, laughter, forgiveness, happiness, joy, keeping who you have in your environment the closest, and being the best that you can be. Yeah.
You were the lighthouse
Yes.
in your family, Kathy. You were put in that situation so you could be that beacon of light. That's why you were.
There you go.
That's why you were there.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I agree. Kathy
I'm going
really,
on night
truly
shift,
is.
so I'll tell my coworkers, you see that light at the end of the mine? It's me.
That's right. Kathy the
Shine that
beacon.
light,
Yeah.
man, because that was your reason for going into that dark family and having that dark beginning. It's so you can be a beacon of light for people all over the world. That is
You're gonna make
completely
me cry.
clear.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank
I
you.
agree. And Katharine, you're a beacon as well with this book. This is going to
thank
be
you.
tremendous inspiration and a good set of instructions for people, because, we're all taught forgiveness is important. The precepts of religion, all of that talk about it, but there really isn't a step-by-step guideline or manual on how. So I think you're offering that to people.
It's a simple thing. It's not very complicated, but the how, it's like, well, what do I do? Do I sit at a bench? What do I do? So sit in the middle of your bed, sit wherever you like. And I always imagine the person in front of me, and I imagine the person as I would like them to be. That's important to me personally. I don't want to imagine the angry person. I imagine the person as I would wish they were. And that's how I forgive them.
I love it. Thank you, Katharine, for being on the show.
Thank you so much.
You're super helpful.
It's my pleasure. I enjoy talking about it. So it's been a joy.
You're going to reach a lot of our listeners. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this latest episode. And if you want to hear more episodes of Women Road Warriors or learn more about our show, be sure to check out womenroadwarriors.com. And please follow us on social media. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at sjohnson@womenroadwarriors.com.